Hey everybody, my name is Brandon from thestockstreams.com, and today I want to talk about Unity stock, ticker symbol U. What I want to do first is I want to go into Google and talk about the macro picture of what's going on with Unity stock and why it is down over 30% in just a single month. And then I want to go into the earnings report to talk about how Unity is doing as a business, and then I want to go into the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy Unity if we want to buy Unity. So now let's get started. So here we are in Google, and here's a 1 month view of Unity's trading charts here. And as you can see, in about a month, in the month of February, we were down about 30%. However, if we look at the news of what's going on around Unity's stock here, we actually see quite a few bullish articles on Unity. So why are the writers of these articles so bullish on Unity if we are down around 30% in a month? So if we take a look at what's inside of these articles, the writers of these articles are really bullish because of Unity's product. So that we're all on the same page here, Unity sells a software that helps people code games. So I actually used Unity to make a couple mobile games a while back when I was in college, and I can tell you that Unity is really one of the best game making softwares out there. Even Pokemon Go was made with the help of Unity. Basically, Unity offers a free tier and also a paid tier for game makers to use the software. The main point I want to make here is that when it comes to mobile game making or even PC game making and console game making, Unity does have a very strong foothold of the market share in my personal experience. Also, Unity serves ads to the games that its creators make. A lot of those in-game ads that you see when you're playing games like Angry Birds are sometimes not actually from Google AdSense, but are actually from Unity ads. This part of the business is actually quite large and will likely continue to grow as Unity's core business grows. To my fellow game making nerds out there, I've tried the Unreal Engine and even the Blender engine, but I think that Unity is one of the best ones that I've tried so far. The next main point I want to make about Unity is about the gaming industry in general for the next few years. In my opinion, I think that the gaming industry is in for a very fun and very vibrant few years, in some part because of the potential adoption of virtual reality and augmented reality. I think there is a coming movement in VR and AR that will really change the landscape. I think it will be similar to the App Store renaissance of mobile games that Apple and Google had created when they first released the app stores to the public and app developers. Because of this, and because Unity has pretty good VR and AR engines at the moment, I suspect that Unity will be able to maintain or even improve their market share for the future. This could be why ARK Invest and Cathie Wood like Unity as well. So after talking about the macro bull cases for Unity, I do want to touch on some things that could really be a downer for Unity stock. Even though Unity provides an excellent product, they really are only as successful as the game makers. These game makers are the ones that use Unity's sandbox, but in order for the game makers to make money, they need to go through app stores and platforms like Apple. Because of this, you need to pay attention to the rules that are going on with the platforms like Apple. As an example, Apple changed terms of its privacy policy about a month ago, and it did have a substantial impact on Unity stock because it will affect Unity ads. The main point I want to make in this video is that if you are investing in Unity, you have to be aware that Unity's success is hinged on how friendly the platforms are to Unity's game makers. You should be expecting volatility in the name because these policies can change on a dime, either to the upside or the downside. So now, with all that said, let's head on over to the earnings report to try and see if we can see how Unity is doing as a business. So here we are in Unity's earnings report, and they give us a nice year-over-year view for the quarter ending on December 31st, 2020. And we see that Unity is really growing revenues very nicely, about 40% year over year. So this is likely due to the acceleration of the stay-at-home trend, which all forced us to basically stay at home and play hours of Candy Crush as an attempt to escape the monotony and loneliness of life. The next point I want to talk about here is the profit margins, and we can calculate that by doing the revenue minus the cost of revenue to get our gross profit. And we can see that our profit margins, we are actually slightly shrinking profit margins year over year from 81% last year to 76% this year. Now, with that said, these are incredibly high margins that a lot of other companies can only dream of. But we are still dropping margins slightly, and I'm not too sure why. Again, not a big deal because these margins are really high, but it still will impact our gross profit here from the amount of money that we are able to capture from our revenues here. And again, it's just something to think about. It's telling me that Unity is not operating as efficiently as I would like it to be. The next thing I want to point out here is operating expenses, which is this block on the earnings report here, which consists of research and development, sales and marketing, and general and administrative. And if we look at the total operating expenses, we see that we are exploding operating costs year over year. However, if we look at the detailed view of where this money is going, we see a lot of this money is going into research and development year over year. Other people may have different views on this, but for me, I am incredibly happy to finally cover a company that seems to be very focused on investing in their product. I always make a big deal about this because in order for Unity and other companies to stay at the cutting edge of their technology, they need to invest in research and development and less on sales and marketing or general and administrative, which is what Unity is doing. I am very encouraged to see this. The last thing on the earnings report that I want to talk about is the amount of shares that we have in circulation here. We see that we are more than doubling the amount of shares year over year, which is basically saying that we are having share dilution. Again, not the worst thing in the world, but it does impact your right to the small part of Unity's profits that your share covers. So while we're talking about Unity's fundamentals here, I want to point out Unity's valuation. We are not making any money yet, so that's why we need to compare price to sales. Just to get a handful of comparisons here, I'll compare Unity to Activision Blizzard and Tencent, my favorite game making companies in the space right now. That said, of course, it's not perfect comparisons because Activision and Tencent make their own games while Unity relies on creative nerds like me to use their products to code a game and put ads on them. But all three of them are in the gaming sphere. That said, the price to sales of Unity, Activision, and Tencent respectively are 38, 9, and 14. That alone should tell you that Unity is trading quite expensively compared to its peers because its price to sales is higher than its peers. For me, this is one of the reasons why I chose Activision over Unity. I also chose Activision because I believe that their Call of Duty franchise is making a comeback, and I'm a bit partial to the series because I've played it a bunch of times when I was in middle school. But talking about Unity specifically, you do have to consider that Unity is trading a bit expensive to its peers. So in order to justify the valuation, a lot of people are hoping that Unity's growth stays high. So now with all that said, let's head on over to the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy Unity if we want to buy Unity stock. So here we are in the trading charts, and we can see that Unity really has been having kind of a rough February ever since we broke down from this $140 to $145 support level here. Ever since then, we've been in a pretty well-defined downtrend. Now, with all that said, looking for support and resistance levels, the first support level that I see is around here, around this $100 level, made from our candles that we just had here, as well as these candles over here. I think around this level is where we could start seeing some consolidation. I think our resistance level is one around here, around 120, made from these two candles over here, as well as the $140 and $150 support levels over here. I think that we could see some consolidation with the bottom end of our range being the $100 level. I think around the $100 level is a spot where I would be looking forward to starting a position if I wanted to start a position in Unity. But keep in mind that there is still some downside risk if we do break the $100 support level. Just to cover the other major indicators here, if we zoom in here, we see that the MACD is firmly negative for the month of February. We see that the blue line, which is a measure of short-term momentum, is far less than what we're normally seeing in the long-term momentum, which is this orange line, which is a representation of the moving average from the past 26 days. Because the blue line is underneath the orange line, that shows us that the short-term momentum is weaker than our long-term momentum, which is normally a bearish sign. It could say that we still have some downside to go, but it does look like that the blue line seems to be bottoming out here, looking to cross the orange line sometime soon. If that's the case, then that is actually a bullish sign, which is saying that our short-term momentum is regaining strength and could cross the long-term moving average. Speaking of strength, let's talk about the RSI here, which is the relative strength index. We see that we were in the oversold territory, but then showed some strength. So this is actually a bullish sign to me, because an oversold stock sometimes indicates that the stock is cheaper than what we are normally seeing. However, just remember that these are just technical indicators, and to be a good investor, you need to consider the macro, fundamental, and technical indicators so that you can try to predict how the company would do in the next few years.